I'm surprised that no one has made this kind of countdown before. Well, time to get to work. It's been years and I'm finally back to doing countdowns. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I love the Mega Man ZX series, despite what others say. I'm surprised that no one has made this list in particular before. Well, while I was working on a big video, and I mean big, I decided to revisit the Zero ZX Legacy Collection, play through the ZX series, and had the motivation to rank in every Pseudoroid from worst to best. Now, for my criteria, I'm only going to be counting the Pseudoroids. So that means Prometheus and Pandora, Serpent, the Mega Man of the Game of Destiny, and Master Albert won't be on the list. Also, Omega is on the blacklist because it would be a complete cop-out. Also, I'm not going to talk about the stage design, only their design, boss fights, abilities, level 4 victories, and medal requirements. I'm leaving no stone unturned, no biometal left behind, no copy ability discarded. So get ready to Mega Merge because here we go. Okay, it's time for the mandatory crappy fire boss. For those of you who aren't familiar with the series, most bad fire bosses come with a bad stage, an atrocious boss fight, and a useless weapon. And those of you who struggle with that sub-tank in Area K knows who I put in the bottom of the list. Yep, let's welcome our signature crappy fire boss, Flammo the Moloid. To be honest, a lot of the original ZX Pseudoroids were pretty forgettable. Getting through the stage to stop an excavation is a pain considering there's a sub-tank in here. And I'm not talking stages, I'm talking boss fights. Basically, his design looks sloppy. Well, this boss fight is a total joke. A pain in the ass if you're going for the level 4 biometal password, since his arms are his weakness. His attacks include throwing fireballs at you, throwing a wave of fire at you, hit you with flame pillars, digging vertically and horizontally, and that's about it. All you need is Model H and you're good to go. Also, the password data is just a power wave, which is cool, but unfortunately, it can be used on the ground and not on walls until the ZX Advent, which is exclusive to Gray. I'm surprised Serpent hasn't fired this mole, but I can't dig deeper. I got better Pseudoroids to look at. Those of you who play the series knows about this creep! If I were to sum up Rosebark in one word, this will be my answer. Creepy! There's something I don't like about Rosebark. Thing is, in Ash's story, Rosebark is annoyed that his prey got away thanks to Ash, and with Gray, I don't want to go there because this is a PG-13 channel. After scaling a tower that has wasted my time to turn the security system back on, his boss fight kinda sucks. All he does is zip on vines, throw leaves at you, throwing 3 petals to pull an electro wave on there, and also electrifying the vines. And regain a bit of health before blasting you with a photosensitive ray, and it's very easily telegraphed. For the medal requirements, you're going to need to defeat Rosebark in his gold form for bronze, in which you can use Thetis' ability no matter who you're playing as. Use Argoyle and Ugoyle only for silver, and for the gold medal, you need to fight fire with fire. And his copy ability, absolutely worthless. A lot of the Pseudoroid abilities were rather mediocre in ZX Advent, but I believe that this is by far the worst. You move very slowly, cling on behind, launch spark leaves, whip, and that's it. You're saying that it's not as bad, but you can get ELS and Queen Bee's abilities later on, making this paperweight of ability of a joke.
I'm wilting, wilting.
What a drama queen! Remember Whale Gator from X2? Well, here comes his twin brother that's actually worse than him. Bifrost is by far one of the most tedious fights I've ever endured. For one thing, his design is pretty lame. He's a crocodile with icicles, which is kind of lazy if you ask me. After investigating the biolab for mechanoids coming out of nowhere, you're not in for a challenging time. As for his fight, it's really nothing special. He slowly closes in on you and tries to munch on your sorry butt. Then there is his saw blades and jumping on an ice block to launch ice shards, and then there is his other attack. When he reaches half health on top of his chomp attack, he throws his ice teeth at you. These attacks are easily telegraphed that you have to dash underneath him when he jumps at you, or you can go into the corner and kill him with buster shots. And the medal requirements are rather simple. For a bronze medal, you need to fight him with Queen Bee, fight him with Buckfire to get silver, and use Model A's homing shot only for gold. And his ability is rather pointless, but what puts him above Rosebark is that his ability only has one use. He has the means to destroy blocks that can't be destroyed by Atlas's charge attack. And that's pretty much it. His other attacks are rather meh. You know, as a cold-blooded reptile, I don't think he will be going into the swamp anytime soon. Did you know this guy is an old geezer? I'm really gonna go out on a limb here. After going through a marine laboratory to collect some data from there, we get greeted to an old squid. You're asking, why am I just disrespecting the elderly? Well, I'm not, because fun fact, he's older than you think. His design looks really awkward, and his fight is a joke. First, he ices up the walls and the floor, throws ice dragons to home in on you, and tries to suck you in to grab you and do damage over time. All of this can be avoided if you use Model L in this fight. But if you're going for the level 4 rank, then you're going to be chopping down a tree with a butter knife. Or, in this case, cutting up a squid with a toy kitchen knife. Because overdriving at Model F won't help much unless it's maxed out. If you're using Model L and using a spinning spear, you can kill him in an ultra combo. And the password data is rather slow and clunky. You throw in a dragon that moves very slowly and homes in on enemies, which is Gray's Model L ability in the next game. Leganture, your life has just expired. So, after meeting Venturale, depending on who you pick, they give you the green key to go to the jungle to find data on the computer, but you get ambushed by not one but two Pseudoroids. It's rather unique to see a dual Pseudoroid, but it falls flat on its face. First, their design looks really subpar to me. They have wheels for legs and their arms look kinda ridiculous. As for the fight itself, it's rather annoying and boring at the same time. They charge back and forth, which are vulnerable to Model ZX's ability with the Spin Slash, and they do it way too often. And then they bring in a spike ball, which either they hit you like a volleyball and split into three, or throw in a black hole that shoots dark shots. And the medal requirements are rather a pain to do. You have to finish them both off with Giga Crush to get a bronze, use Hex Shocks and Lightning to hit them both for silver, and Buckfire's Tomahawks to finish them both off for gold. If you ask me, the Giga Crush should be the gold instead. As for the abilities, it's nice to dash without stopping, but they're actually only useful to get impossible to get abilities through a wall, which is kinda lame. Yeah, but it's not really a big deal. Would have been worse if this was a card game. Okay, we reached one of the more interesting Pseudoroids, to say the least. After going through the lab to collect the remaining data and enduring missiles, we get greeted by a big guy. So, I really have nothing much to say about how to protect us. First off, I have to say that his design is pretty underwhelming. He's a rhino with a cabinet on him. I'm not really fond of his design, to be honest. As for the fight, it's boring! He moves very slowly, throws bombs at you either horizontally, vertically, or both. Only missiles that can be destroyed, protects himself with a barrier, and even throws in a big missile for good measure, or that can explode. And unless you get behind him, you're taking a lot of damage, and a lot of them are easily avoidable. If you're casually playing through it like I was, his weakness is that shield of his. But if you're going for the level 4 victory, he's not that hard to do since you need to hit the head. But in my playthrough, when gathering footage for this video, Model H's Tornado is all you need, if you're not going for the level 4 rank. However, what puts him above Flamel and the Ganchor is that the password data you get is pretty good. You obtain a barrier that can protect you from attacks. But still, shield's down, bro. Hey everyone, before I continue, while making this video, I decided to fight these next 2 entries again for confirmation that they're deserving of the next 2 spots on the list. And now I can confirm it. I apologize for the inconvenience. Now back to the video. You know, I'm rather tired of monkeying around. Let's go to a music park. Ah! It's a monkey! When going to the amusement park to recover Model P, we see a benefit of Ventor Ale's backstory, but when we get to the jungle gym, we get greeted to a monkey. I wish Tarzan were here. To start, his design looks very weird. He's supposed to be a mandrill, but he doesn't look like a mandrill. He looks like a gorilla who drank too much whiskey. And the fight is rather annoying. He throws bombs at you, either bouncing or plant bombs on the ground. Use the sand attack to try and hit you with it, and also spin like a disc, hit the wall all across the room, and then drill a hole knocking debris to hit you with it. Since he has no elemental weakness, his weak point is the arms, which makes it a pain to level 4 this guy while he was moving around. As for Biomel Model P, it's rather useful for hard to reach stuff with Model H. It can clean onto ceilings and throw kunais. No wonder King Louis banished this monkey. It would definitely wreck his temple. Rescuing hostages was rather frustrating in this next entry, because you have to speak with them in human form and not replay form, otherwise they're going to be scared of you. Once you rescue the people in the burning buildings, you get greeted by a Magma Dragoon wannabe. Fist Leo was rather plain and had a concept that was used in 2 previously established series. But honestly isn't that bad. In fact, his design looked pretty cool. And that's about it on what positive things to say about it. Overall, his fight is fun, but really nothing special. He often heals himself, throws in energy spears and tries to charge at you, slam down burning blocks and destroying them, and even rush at you with 3 other fireballs when he hits half health. Some of them are easily avoidable, while others, not so much. Not to mention, you can shred through his health with Model H if you already beat Huracan, like I did when recording footage for this video, but I'll get to her later. If you want the level 4 victory, then you might as well avoid the head, but what puts me at another 9 spot is that the Biomel he gives you is pretty solid. Model F is a stronger Biomel with Buster Shots and a Flaming Shot other than that, Magma Dragoon and Slash Beast would be very disappointed. Remember what Count Shaman said in Quarter Guy's top 10 least favorite Mega Man Zero bosses? That he wanted to cut female Reploids in half? And at least ZX has more? Yeah, he was talking about this woman Reploid, or Pseudoroid to be specific.
You can call me Queen Bee.
I'll give Queen Bee credit. Her design looks rather good. A bee that has a high carry on her stinger, but her voice and dialogue looks a little too questionable for a game aimed for kids 10 and up.
He's so impatient. In a moment, the energy furnaces will explode, and a beautiful fire flower will bloom, filled with sweet nectar. The nectar of terror.
Okay. As for the fight itself, she's rather simple. All you need to do is destroy the hive to deal massive damage to her, and hit her while her hive is down, and she'll go down in seconds. But she'll get a new one. As for her attacks, she throws missiles at you, and she does it twice. Summons bees to home in on you. brings in rays of sunlight, and when she reaches half health, she throws in a beam that explodes and adds in fireballs for good measure. These are easily telegraphed, and once her hive is gone, she'll shoot you with her stinger. And she'll get another hive if you take too long to kill her. As for the metal requirements, you have to only hit Queen Bee and avoid the hive, which is easier said than done since Atlas's ability is the best way to damage her without hitting the hive, because Aeolus's ability has a chance to damage the hive too. Ooh, and that is to get the gold medal. The silver medal is when you have to beat her before she summons her bees, which again, Atlas had the means to do so. And the bronze medal, you have to hit the hive only. As for her ability, it makes Rosespark absolutely moot! She can fly and shoot singers and carry heavy objects, but the reason why she's number 8 is just her battle is a little too easy. Well, looks like this queen is overthrown. Well, later is now. Okay, it's time for some pseudoroids that I can be a lot more positive about. Starting with a pseudoroid that I admittedly went for after fighting Hivold. Huracan is the pseudoroid blocking your path from finding the hostages that she's planning to use as sacrifices to turn them into cyber owls for Model W. As for the design, she's pretty much one of the weaker designs. I don't know, I think the propellers on her limbs look kind of weird to me. As for the fight itself, she's rather a piece of cake if you're using Model ZX. She flies into the air, and then once she slams on the ground, she can cause shockwaves. She can also hit you with a wind slash that can go up the wall, also small tornadoes, and as she reaches half health, she will summon a tornado and summon wind slashes upwards and downwards. This battle is rather easy if you are playing casually, unless you're playing it without upgrades, but not really that hard when you're going for the level 4 victory. As for the password data, it's the best in the game! You summon a tornado that can shred through enemies! I admittedly got it to plow through Prometheus' fight and the rest of the game. Thanks for the tornado and the hostages. No. I'm not making a Sonichu joke. There's no point in beating this horse when it's dead. Fine. Head shock. Yeah, Head Shock is pretty much Sonichu, but much more creative! After going to learn about Prometheus and Pandora's origins, you get ambushed by a hedgehog that isn't a crappy Sonic OC, and looks like an actual hedgehog. And fun fact, she's actually a girl, but her voice is rather annoying.
Hey, that's as far as you go! Nobody gets past this point! I'm just following Mr. Albert's orders! Hey, do you think you could just ignore me, Headshock? You've got to face the penalty, a shocking penalty! Mr. Albert's orders are absolute!
Shut up! As for the fight, I kinda actually enjoy it. She rolls around the room, throws in lightning balls, and also raises the water level in the room. I'm sure it's not gonna give TST of a certain water dungeon. But man, she's always fast when she is spinning. When she reaches half health, she summons the rats as a distraction, and then it can be easily disposed of. You see, when gathering footage for the video, you see that I've been using Gray, and also in his Reploid form. Well, you see, you have to be patient because in order to get a gold medal, you need to win only with either Ash's human form or Gray in his Reploid form, which is pretty unique in some way. As for the other medals, you need to knock a rat at her as a finishing blow. As for bronze, finish her off with Chrono Force. Also, here's a tip. You can use Chrono Force's Time Bomb to slow her down. As for her ability, this is an upgrade for the crouching ability in the human or Reploid form. She can roll faster and destroy green slime blocking your path. And her Spark Bomb ability puts Rosespark abilities to shame. Enough with the Sonichu jokes. Okay, when heading through the lake to find info on Model W, we get greeted by a Little Mermaid guppy. But something is off about her. Holy f***ing! Is that a big anglerfish? Yep, we got an anglerfish for a boss. That's how I can describe her, the design. Her bulb is cute, but the big eye is terrifying. But it's rather unique. She can throw in a snowflake that leaves ice hazards, throw an ice beam, ice spears that goes in 2 directions, and her anglerfish also has some attacks that are easily telegraphed. A torpedo that deals a lot of damage, and whenever she gets the chance, it can munch on your star's butt. As for the weak point, you'll have to avoid her head if you want that level 4 victory. And if you hit her head, the anglerfish can try and bite you in exchange for massive damage. As for the biometal you get, it's only useful underwater, and not so much on land. Which is a shame too, because you can finally swim underwater, which Mega Man lacked in the past. I think anglerfish from Link's Awakening needs to take notes from this. So, after dealing with Buckfire and you've taken down Rosebark already, you go to the Arctic area to meet up with Atlas and Thetis. And Atlas makes you go for a dip, and what are you greeted with? A time stingray. Okay, we're going into the best of the best. First off, I really love his design. His belly looks like a clock, which is really cool. As for the fight itself, a lot of his attacks are easily telegraphed, but there is one attack that makes him a little more difficult. It's his time bomb attack. When he speeds himself up, and if you aren't careful, he'll slap you to Kingdom Come. Try fighting him in expert mode, and he'll probably destroy you if your skills are not very good. And if you're really unlucky, he can do it instantly. He summons icicle spears, then charges at you, summons drones to charge at you, or charge at you all on his own. And when he reaches half health, he will do that icicle spear attack where he launches icicles, and he can reverse time to try and hit you again with it. But if you got the hang of this pattern the first time around, you can dodge it pretty easily. As for the medal requirements, you will need to take him out with a charged Z-Saber for a bronze medal, a silver medal you need to finish him off with Buckfire's dash attack, and with gold, you need to take him out with Queen Bee only. As for abilities, he is useless outside of water, but regardless if you're inside or outside of water, you can still use his time bomb attack at your advantage. And the best part, it slows down everything, even bosses, but not you. Imagine if you had this attack.
This will just take a minute. You who bear a heavy cross, what does eternity hold for you? And time marches on. Right on time.
I don't want to think about it. After making yourself at home by meeting the hunters, getting ambushed by Prometheus and Bundora, and meeting Model A, your first encounter is a deer? Wait, that's a gazelle, isn't it? Well, that is Buckfire. He's the first major boss in the game, and he's just the right difficulty. And honestly, he's the best first boss in the franchise. Capcom and Inti Creates nailed Buckfire's design. A gazelle that shoots fire at his enemies? Awesome! And about the fight, well, in his boss fight, he can shoot flaming arrows, dash at you upwards, forwards, and try to kick you in the face. And then once he reaches half health, he throws in the tomahawks. And you can easily take him down by using a charged buster shot on his main. Unironically, being the game's first real boss, his attacks are rather easily telegraphed. So you know when to dodge and when to strike. And now for the medal requirements. Bronze medal, you have to finish him off with Head Shock. Silver medal, damage only is weak point. And gold medal, use Sarnak's ability with a touchscreen. But it's rather awkward to do in the Legacy Collection because you only use the right analog stick to attack on the target, and not the stylus. And his ability is incredibly useful. In fact, he has the best Pseudoroid ability in the game. It has the exact same abilities as his boss fight. He can fire arrows, dash attack, and throw tomahawks. Funny thing is that it can break through delicate walls and ceilings. He's a better first boss than Aztec Falcon. Speaking of which, remember Aztec Falcon? You know, the one that first-timers have a hard time with in the first Zero game? Well, here comes his bear twin brother. High Volta Raptoroid is what Aztec Falcon should have been. After investigating the power plant's seeing that Serpent has been using Cyber Elves to power it, once you encounter the Hawk, it's time for the fight. His design looks very sick! Ick, a Hawk with electro rings? That's pretty neat! And when talking about his fight, he can dash around the room to try and charge at you, lay down his wings as drones to shoot at you, a three-way slash, and using his wings as drones. But when he gets desperate, he rips off Gigabolt Man & War's overdrive attack, which is easily telegraphed. If you're going for the level 4 Biometal, then he is the same case as Protectos. He's rather not hard to level 4, just slash his legs because if you're going for the wings, get ready for some damage to the Biometal and you'll need to get it repaired. And if you don't have access to Biometal Malel or her password data for the Dragon homing attack, then it's okay, because you won't really need it for this fight. And your reward is the best Biometal in the game! Model H, which breezes through most of the game with a three-way slash, an air slash, and he can air dash. And you're probably going to be sticking with this Biometal for the rest of the game. Eat your heart out, Aztec Falcon! And with the process of elimination, there is still one more Pseudoroid before we close the curtain. Number 1 was rather difficult to think about rather than the bomb spot. So with the process of elimination, without further ado, have you taken your seats? Have you shut off your cell phones? If so, lights please! Oh yeah, we went from a lame mole to an awesome rockstar condor. To be honest, ZX Advent was where they got the Pseudoroid bosses right. When you investigate the scrapyard and go through a confusing maze, the spotlight goes on this guy. And to not confuse you with something else, it's not the Met from another cartoon series. To start, Voltron's design looks really sick. A Pseudoroid with makeup and electric guitar? Sign me up! And as for his boss fight, he flies around the room, teleports some of Scrap's robots that you can easily dispose of. When he strums on his guitar, he's dangerous to go near. And speaking of that guitar, he can strum on it to attack you, hit you with it, and can use the speakers to his advantage. The first attack from the speakers is that when junk is on there, it can blast at you. And these enemies descend down at you. And also, if there is not, and if you are close to the speakers, and you're hit with sound waves, your attacks are disabled temporarily. However, his medal requirements are rather a taste of patience and skill. In order to get a gold medal, you need to only use the Giga Crash against him and nothing else. Which I advise you to wait after you beat this guy before or going after the weapon upgrades if you want to get all the medals. And if you manage to endure that long, then you can get 2 medals at the same time. Gold for the Giga Crash and bronze for spending 2 minutes on this fight. But you'll have to come back with one more to use Eolis's Sonic Boom attack to finish him off for that silver medal. And his ability, it's rather one of the most useful. He can clean him onto walls, glide in a horizontal direction, and do a guitar solo to damage enemies and can give you an easier time in the final stretch before the final boss. But the reason why he's number 1 on the list is because he's one of the most unique bosses in the series. It proves that rock music can be deadly. Take a look at Eno from Guilty Gear or Lord Raptor from Darkstalkers, or if you want someone in the same franchise, Harp Note from Star Force. And also, he encourages you to go forward when you beat him in the rematch.
I'm gonna retire. Now it's up to you. Carry on with the show. Give him a mega performance.
Voltron is my favorite Pseudoroid. He's fun to fight, he's got an awesome design, and a good ability. Rock on, man. Rock on. Maybe this video will get people into the ZX series. I don't know, only time will tell. I'm the Aquaflame, and have a nice day, Land Dwellers.